Hey guys, I'm Heather with Head in the Clouds, and I am here with Andres.
From Charlas and Sillas. Simple, straight talk. Together. And together, this is Real Talk with Heather and Andres. And man, we have an open book today. Oh, Heather.
Yeah, we do. Open book equals poor planning on our part, but we're gonna roll with the punches here. And you were asking me right as we were going live if I had ever considered getting my brokerage license. And I had said yes, but Tony has his, so I don't see the need to necessarily go get mine anytime soon. What about you? Have you ever thought about getting your brokerage license on top of your real estate license?
That is something that when I always had in mind um, prior to getting into real estate is having my own office, my own team, and and be able to grow uh, locally, but more so nationally. I think I mentioned this before. One of my goals is be able to create a network of bilingual real estate agents nationwide, right?
Mhm.
So that's still my goal. That's still one of my focus. So I look forward to continue to expand. But given the circumstances and the brokerage I'm in now, the team, the organization that I'm in, um, I'm able to do that without having to acquire my brokerage license. So so yeah, it's up in the air, and the reason the question came up is because my wife brought it up this weekend. She's like, "Hey, are you gonna get your brokerage license?" I'm like, "Good question. I should be able to next year, or towards the end of this year." So it's definitely something to think about. But like I said, it's not required, but just because of the way I am and the goals that I've set in place for myself, I may do so in the future.
And now your for our listeners who don't know, your wife Ellie, she has her lending license, correct?
Not yet. She's in. It's in the works. It's in the works. She works with the London company, but she may be looking at getting her LO license as well. So, and we were talking throughout the same conversation. We are talking about that because I've been trying to. I've asked her if she's coming over to the real estate space and be an agent. It's just my goal is to have her here full time next year as well. But she's leaning more towards the lending side of things. She's having too much fun with the lending part of it to come over to the real estate space, and that's totally fine. That's perfect. She's enjoying herself. Thing, I think that's the most important thing when we find something we like. It's no longer a job. We're passionate about it. It's no longer a job for us. So we're having fun in the process, and we love what we're doing.
And you guys are an awesome team too. I know quite a few couples that are one's the agent and one's the lender, and it really is a great combo because especially with you guys being bilingual, you can definitely help the Hispanic community, the Spanish speaking community, because you'll be able to not only communicate with them in Spanish on the house side of things, but her as well on the lending side of things. So there's never going to be that imbalance language barrier because everybody's going to know what's going on. Plus, like, how easy is it to get a hold of the lender about something going on in the loan if your wife's the lender?
Like, hey, what's going on with this? but that's has always been one of my goals to work with the Hispanic community as an agent. I think, and the reason I mention Hispanic community is because, of course, I'm Hispanic. I see my own family growing up and the struggles that they went through. I see my friends' family. I see people that are close to me that they come to this country with a vision, with the goal, with a dream of coming in here, working, building a financial stability, be able to retire and go back home to their country to enjoy the little things that they left behind, right? Um, I see myself doing that. I have my mom, which I want to retire so she can spend my mom is not happy here, right? She missed the little ins and outs of her friends, her neighbors, the way you travel over there, the music, the culture. She misses those things, right? So I want to be able to say, Mom, just go back and do that. And I know there's a wide range of families and immigrants in general that came here with that vision. And I want to be able to work with that family because a lot of them are in a position to be homeowners or invest in real estate, and they don't know it yet, you know. So I think the lack of communication and the language barrier, the understanding of the process, um, limits them in taking the next step. And my goal is to be able to uh, work with that community, work with agents that share that vision to be able to help them because um, it's an opportunity there to help them first and foremost. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll be great to have my wife alongside that, friends and family that share that goal to work with that community.
I sent you over some pros and cons of what we were talking about with the brokerage license. You want to dive into the benefits, rewards, and then the cons as well when it comes to getting your brokerage license on top of your real estate license?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I
So
can tell
I
you, I can tell you some pros for the company I'm with. For those who don't know, I'm with DXP Realty. So,
All right, let's jump into the pros of strictly with EXP. What are the pros there?
well, I have a broker team that I don't have the overhead cost to keep. I could get an office, right? But as far as documents and pretending for the brokers, all that is passed over to the brokerage team for EXP Realty that I don't have to inquire. I don't have to do all the paperwork as a broker per se. That's a big plus, right? So that's one other thing that struck me because, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to put a team in. And where do you want to focus in? Do you want to focus on reviewing the paperwork of your entire team, or do you want to focus on actually working with the community that I want to help? For me, one of those priorities is I want to get more involved with the community, help out the community, get more people to be homeowners. If I start growing the team, that means more focus goes towards paperwork. So being here allows me to pass that paperwork over to the brokerage team. So it doesn't sound fair, but that's what they're there for, right?
Yeah. And leveraging things out, right? So that you're not doing everything by yourself. That's what we talk about all the time is stop trying to stir all the pots. Let somebody else cook a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when it comes to getting your brokerage license versus your real estate license, to let everybody know what the difference is, when you have your real estate license, you're an agent that can sell property. And when you get your brokerage license, then you have your brokerage license, you can open up your own brokerage. You can have a team without being a broker. Like you can be a team lead, you just have a managing broker. But if you get your brokerage license, you can either open up your own office, have a brokerage, or you can be a managing broker for one of the offices that you work for. Or you can just hang on to your brokerage license and just have your brokerage license and not actually do any type of like managing with it. It's more school, it's more education, it's an entirely different license. So you would have to get your real estate license and then get your brokerage license. When it comes to some of the stuff that you can do versus some of the more responsibilities you have, let's kind of jump into the pros of having it. The first thing would be more control and independence. So you can operate your own brokerage instead of working under someone. And that's what I was saying before is that you can go from when you're a real estate agent, you have to be belong to a brokerage. You have to hang your license somewhere. And so Andres' license is with EXP. Right now, mine is with Coldwell. So we have to be with a brokerage. If you're a broker, you can be your own broker, and then you don't have to hang your license anywhere. It can just be with you. So when you're an agent with a brokerage, you have splits that you have to pay, right? So if you're not a broker and you're an agent, you pay your brokerage, you pay your brokerage splits. If you're on a team, you pay the team splits. If you're in coaching, you pay the coach. So there's a lot of fees that add up. Everybody thinks you get this big fat check at closing, but actually everybody gets a little piece of that. So it dwindles down really quickly. So one of the pros would be if you're a broker, you operate your own brokerage instead of working under somebody. So you have more freedom over your commission that you're actually making.
Yeah. And not only that, you have freedom over branding the systems and the business model, right? You can operate that company, that team as you see, as you want, you know. And that's one thing that I like about where I'm at, because although I am broker with them, I am representing myself. I'm branding myself in in every way, right? I'm broker by EXP, but I am branding myself. For instance, a listing appointment, the signs you see out there, you're going to see Andres Castro. And the reason I mention this is as an opportunity for broker, you can set up where the signs are tailored to your company,
Yeah.
to your business model, no matter who got the listing in your brokerage, in your team, you can set it up that it is your sign there. I've known some local, I'm not going to say names, but I know some local companies that is exactly that. Everywhere you see them, you see a sign, is that brokerage, that broker pertaining there. So it's an opportunity to expand and brand your business with the agents that you have on board. And the second thing about that is creating an additional revenue share, right? Like you said earlier, uh, I have to pay splits to EXP because they're my broker, right? You can essentially create the same with your own brokerage. So you can create that umbrella, that system to create this the revenue split from those agents that you have in your broker. So it's an opportunity to create that additional revenue and expand, right?
To
And that
follow.
goes with
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that goes with the commission splits that you had the agent sponsor, desk fees, office, technology fees. So you can create multiple fees within that brokerage that would you know bring revenue, but at the same time you have to look at the overhead expense, right? In some cases, they're barely breaking even.
Right. And to kind of follow up what you said on the having, creative freedom over your branding with like signs and stuff, there's a lot of rules and regulations. Like with my company, I can have my picture on the sign, I can have like my name and my info, but if I have my number, I have to have the company's number too. If I have my logo, I have to have the company's logo, and my logo can't be bigger than the company's logo. There's a lot of rules and regulation to your branding. And then that's just at the broker level. Now, if you're on a team within the brokerage and you're, let's say, a buyer's agent or a listing agent, but you work for a team, that team might have rules like, hey, and let's just say you're the team lead and I'm on your team, and you're saying, I have a listing, I'm going to list my listing, but my listing isn't going to say Heather Fowler. It's going to say Team Andres, and my name won't even be on the listing or on the sign or anything. I'll be on the contact info because I'm going to be the one doing the work if I'm on the team. But a lot of times, if you're on a team and you're listing a house, they're not even going to know that you're listing that house by the signage. So as far as your identifiable branding, it's pretty much non-existent because it's the team. And it's not like that with every team, but there are definitely teams, if you're on a team, that are like that.
I think it's so important as an agent to do your due diligence, identify what your goal is, right? Over the next year, 3 years, 5 years, and and identify who is going to help you get to those goals, right? Because you can join a brokerage, and like you said, all the branding is either towards the brokerage, towards the team, and what is that doing for you for your long term business? You know, so if you were to leave that brokerage, you're pretty much starting from scratch at that point. Because although you're closing 10, 15 deals a year, 20 deals a year, right? This whole time you've been branding that brokerage. And if you were to leave, some of those deals, some of those referrals from those leads you got may even be attached to that brokerage too. So I think it's very important to pick in as a newer agent to choose who you're going to be with, because your development and your future is deeply attached to that team that you started working with.
Definitely. And there's a lot of things like that that people really don't take into consideration when they're thinking about being an agent. And we'll get into a whole different show about being on a team versus, actually, we could do that next week, being on a team versus not being on a team, the pros and cons of that. Because it definitely can be helpful and can be a good thing, especially if you're just starting out as an agent and you kind of need that guidance and you need those leads sourced because you don't have one yet. But like you said, do your due diligence, make sure you know what you're getting into, make sure before you sign any team contract, you read everything through so you know if you come in with leads, are you leaving with those leads, or do those leads now become the team leads? Those are all really important questions. I actually think that's a really good topic for us to get into next week, like safety when entering a team for your own personal business and your brand. One thing that, or not one thing, but another thing that's a pro about getting your brokerage license is it gives you more prestige. It carries more weight when you're introducing yourself or you're talking about yourself and you're trying to get new business. So it's when you're talking to a client or you're going to put something down on paper and your email signature says broker, not just agent or realtor, it adds a little bit of weight and it makes you look like you know more. Well, you should know more if you pass the test to become a broker. Makes you look like you know more than just the average agent.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. It's just putting weight into your name, right? And the things you accomplish within the space, and that says a lot about you and your business and how you handle yourself over your career. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Um, and then another thing is the flexibility in the deal structures, right? How are you the ability to negotiate your own commission splits with no cap? Um, so that definitely helps. The freedom to design the referral agreement, the profit sharing models, and specialized niches uh, in and how you want to work in that community, whether it's luxury, commercial, property management. So there's a lot to it that goes into what you can do with your brokerage license. But like we said, you have to look at the overall picture of the business and make sure that you put all those numbers into place and consideration. Uh, the next thing is the long-term exit strategy. What do you think about that?
Repeat that one more time, Andres. I didn't catch.
The long-term exit strategy.
Well, if you're a real estate agent, you're just, an independent agent versus if you're a broker. If you're a broker, you can always sell your brokerage. So if you've got all these agents under you, you're managing a brokerage, you can sell your brokerage, you can merge your brokerage because you're building it as an asset of something that can, produce even without you there. Um, if you don't know this because you're not in the real estate world of things, there's a lot of brokerages where they'll have a managing broker and then there's like the actual broker. And rarely do you see on a day-to-day basis the broker who is over everything. You mainly see the managing broker. That's the one that you call with all your questions. That's the ones that usually has an office at your market center. And then you have your team leads. So you have the people that actually run the team. So it's kind of like this big, I don't want to say pyramid, but kind of like a pyramid where there's like levels to the top, and the person at the top oversees everything, but not they're not necessarily in the day-to-day everyday activities. So you have the opportunity to build up this business and then ultimately, sell it, merge it, whatever you want to do. So as far as exit strategy, if if I had to choose between, exiting and getting what I've built, just me as one agent, or me as however many hundreds of agents I have underneath me that are in that brokerage, I'd probably pick the brokerage and have all those agents and know that that was my retirement plan.
Well, one thing there is, if that's the case on their brokers, right? If they have a set of teams, if they are putting that structure in place, but what if you don't? What if you don't have that structure and you only have three other agents working independently with a low, uh, cap or no sharing? What if you don't have that structure overall? What is your exit strategy? And you're only relying on being the production side. The, the You don't have an exit
Yeah,
strategy, right?
I was gonna say that sounds like you don't got an exit strategy. It sounds like you need an exit strategy.
So the thing is that happens quite often. Now they're just referring business out and hoping something, you know, falls in, and you still keep a certain level of production, very minimal, but still just working at a referral. But what then? That's something that where I am now, I'm continuously building, working towards my exit strategy on two variables, whether it's growing the team, whether it's um, the level of production, and building stocks value. So there's multiple things that I'm working on simultaneously with where I'm at. So I'll be happy to talk about that on another episode directly with individuals. But it's one of those things, as I mentioned, I'm looking to grow my team nationally, internationally, because I want to go to DR and start putting a team over there. And it's one of those things that part of the exit strategy, just working on it simultaneously with everything else going on.
And that kind of leads us into some of the cons of having your brokerage license is if you built up this huge organization, right? And you have all these agents underneath you, well, now you also have the responsibility. So you have the responsibility, you're legally responsible for all the transactions in your brokerage. That's a lot of responsibility to put on somebody, especially if, you're not there to day-to-day operations. You're now responsible for everybody, and obviously there's insurance and stuff like that to help with that, and you have your systems in place. So if you do take on becoming a broker, you need to make sure, especially if you're doing it like your own brokerage and not one that's kind of already set up, and your broker with like one of big one I can't talk one of the big companies. I'm not gonna say names, but like one of the big companies. If you're a brokerage for them, you have an outline. If you decide you're just going to be a broker for yourself and you're winging it, you got to make sure you're covered. You got to make sure you're being careful.
Yeah, you got to be in compliance, audits, risk management, all of that increases. How long you have to keep the paperwork as a broker? It's 5-7 years. You have to keep all those records in place.
I think so.
So those are things to consider and make sure that you have the systems in place to keep that in place because yeah, very easily, especially nowadays, right? There's a lawsuit for anything. There's just it's crazy.
And people are very sue happy all the time,
Yeah.
everywhere. So yes.
And the next thing on that is the overhead costs. All the expenses, the office space, the E&O insurance, compliance, the software, technology, marketing, training. If you have a team, you're providing them all these training, the software, leads. Are you generating leads for your team, or are they responsible for getting their own leads? Management, recruiting, training, supervising, even babysitting agents sometimes, right? Uh, and just looking at the overall picture, the time that it takes to running to running that? Is that something that you're comfortable? Is that something? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
you have to, these are all questions that before you go and study and pay the money, do the class, take the test, that you ask yourself, do I want this long term? Do I want to do this long term?
yeah. These are the like I said earlier. These are all the questions I was asking myself because I started with a small brokerage and I was looking at the setup, the structure. Um, it was great, and I always had the vision of having my own broker license, which I will get my license, right? But with the team I'm in now, uh, I'm able to expand nationally without having to worry about most of these things, you know. Uh, and I'm able to do so without having my broker license so far. So that's an extra plus. So
And then one thing I don't really see on here, kind of briefly covered it a little bit, but all the training. So if
yeah,
you're your own broker, you're bringing on all these new agents, you've got to think about, if you're going to become a broker and now you're trying to recruit agents, what do you have to offer these agents? If you're wanting to try to attract top producing agents and you're trying to get them from other brokers to come be a top producer for you, you have to have something of quality that they're going to want, that's going to be worth it to leave where they're at and come, be in your brokerage. And then if you're bringing on new agents that are baby agents, they have no experience, you've got to train these agents. You've got to train them on
I
every aspect.
lost your audio.
Oh, can you still hear me? Nope. Am I gone?
Is it me or
I don't know. Let's see. I It shows my mic is on.
no? I cannot hear you.
Let's see.
Nope. If anyone's watching us,
Can you hear me now?
there we go.
Okay, I just unhooked it and hooked it back in. I have no idea what happened. That was weird. But I think the last thing I said was, if you're bringing on agents who are new agents, baby agents, they have no experience, you have to train these agents. You have to train them in every aspect of it. You have to train them in making sure that they know how to do a real estate transaction, as well as how to lead gen, how to market, how to close deals. And then once they get a deal and they're walking that transaction through, they don't know how to do the paperwork, they don't know how to write contracts, they don't know how to negotiate. So it's a lot on you. Either you have to hire somebody to do this, hire a coach, or you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, and it's either it takes time or money. Right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, especially nowadays with all the technology, all the tools that are coming in. You know, are you up to date and using what's available out there? Innovating different strategies, ways to generate more business, to stay on top of the game for your team, right? Providing them all the tools that are available to for them to be at their best. It's a very competitive market. People don't realize how competitive it's out there. Um, how fun it is overall. So I'm, I'm having a blast in this space. Um, so I get to learn something new just about every day. I get to learn from my peers. I enjoy talking to them. I enjoy uh, being in the same room with them and just seeing what's available and what is working for them, learning from them. I think it's a competitive field, but also so welcoming at the same time because I've been fortunate enough to come across people that are willing to help, willing to extend a hand and say, hey, this is what worked for me. I've done this for years. This is what's working for me.
Mhm.
Just 2 weeks ago, I went to a luxury home symposium, and and, and I was talking to the one of the panelists, and I honestly didn't even know she was one of the panelists. I just show up early, and I was talking to her. And this week, I've been wanting to reach out to her, invite her for a coffee, just so I can dive deeper into the conversation of what has been successful in her business for the past 25 years. But she was just a sweet lady, easy to talk to, very welcoming, so much knowledge, so much to give out to other agents in the community. And it's great to see that, right? Because you want to be competitive to some extent, but there's also a welcoming part of a human part of the business, right? That you want to be able to connect with these individuals and just grow from one another. It's I love seeing that. I love talking and learning more about other people in the industry. So
And speaking of other people in the industry and being a broker, you have to worry about all your other people in the industry that are under you. You have to make sure they're maintaining their license. You have to make sure that their E&O insurance, if that's something that some people do E&O insurance, other people do other types of insurance, but you have to make sure that that's up to date. If there's any, I think I already said continuing education, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but you need to make sure their continuing education is up to date. You need to make sure you're on state level compliance, and then you have to make sure that all of the contracts that come in, they all have to be correct. So somebody's got to be sitting there auditing those to make sure everything is correct and everything is on track for closing. Plus any fines, penalties, that all falls on you as the broker. And when it
and
comes to fines and penalties, oh my God, there's so many rules and regulations. Like if you're posting a listing online, it has to be your pictures. You can't, well, at least in Georgia, you can't use anybody else's pictures. Have to be your pictures. You can't
yep,
call or text people past a certain amount of time. You can't call people that are on the do not call list. You can't put anything on anybody's mailbox if you're door knocking. There's so many rules that you can get penalized and fines for. It's crazy. It's like that meme that's like, you did this, straight to jail. You did that, straight to jail.
seriously. And you touched briefly on something on that's as a broker overseeing all the transactions, right? I think that's I've seen so many posts of people asking for advice regarding a situation going on a deal on a contract, and most of the comments are talk to your broker, talk to your broker, talk to your broker. Why are you here? Talk to your broker, and that makes me wonder: either you don't have a relationship with your broker, right, to go and ask those questions, or what is the broker doing?
Yeah.
I'm not putting any. I don't know the broker of this situation, but putting myself in a situation like that as a broker, I need to stay on top of my game. I need to stay on top of all of these details, and my team needs to know that they can trust me for them to come over to me with any questions pertaining to that deal, right? Because that shouldn't happen. I honestly think that shouldn't happen. If you have a question or concern going on, you should be addressing it with me as your broker, and let's get this resolved in the best way we can.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I see that all the time too. And I'm like, I don't understand why the people are asking the internet when they need to be asking their broker, especially because some of these things are very broker specific to your
Yeah,
specific, organization. So just because my broker does it one way doesn't mean your broker is going to do it the same way. And compliance for each is very, very different sometimes. I think a lot of times people don't want to say they don't know, like they don't want to tell their client, I don't know the answer to that. So
yeah,
and then they're afraid if they ask their broker a question, maybe they'll look stupid. I don't know. I always say if I don't know the answer to something, my like word for word, what I tell my client would be like, you know what? That's a great question. I'm not entirely sure on the answer. I'm going to talk to my broker and I'll get back to you.
exactly. I was just gonna say that because there's so much in being honest with your client there, and showing people that, in fact, I don't know everything. you know,
Yep.
and that's totally okay. I, Let me find out. I'm not. Hey, that's a great question. Let me find out. Now I need to know. Which, in essence, I see people posting this information out there, which I'm glad they do. In essence, because I'm learning from it. you know, uh, um, but as a broker, I think that that's a detail that needs to be, needs to be on top of mind all the time. Your team needs to be able to go to you and trust you and say, "Hey, anything that comes up, I'm right here. Let's get this resolved." And in the same capacity, if you don't know an answer, you know, let's find it together. Um, Another thing that they have to be conscious is market competition, right? Like I said earlier, it's a very competitive market, so you need to go against established brokers if you're opening new, strong brand recognition and resources. Uh, it can make scaling a little bit harder. And like I mentioned earlier, when you're going into a brokerage or a team, do your due diligence in finding out because a lot of times you are branding, you are growing that brand, that team, that brokerage, and you're not necessarily growing yourself. Now, as a team, as a broker owner of a new office, how what are you putting in place for your team? How do you want to continue to grow and establish your brand locally?
Exactly. Sometimes, and this may be a con too, because not having that big brand name, not having that big name to fall on, it's an easy an identifying label. People see that big name and they're like, oh, okay, you're an agent with dot dot dot. Got it, cool. Think of the again, we're not going to name names, but like the big ones that everybody knows. So if you say I'm an agent with dot dot dot, boom, they know who you are. But like if I were to say I'm Heather with 3 keys, which is the name of like my own little independent real estate business, it's like my website and everything would be 3 keys. Nobody knows who the hell that is. Like what is 3 keys? Like, okay, and that could be anything. Like 3 keys sounds so generic. I could be a locksmith, so it's about having that identifiable name versus not having that. And so some people it matters and some people it doesn't. And some people are like very prejudiced against certain brands. So if you say you're with a certain company, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, I hate them. I'm not using you. So it's like a catch
Seriously,
too.
seriously, I wonder what that is, right? So it happens more often than we think.
It really does. But the plus side of that too, kind of, is that with your own independent branding, your own individual look, you stand out. Whereas if you're with a big company, you're one agent of thousands, as opposed to this is your brand and there's nobody else like it. So you're also identifiable, but you're less recognized.
Yeah, and I mentioned last week. See the colors on the back,
Yeah.
and those will be my colors now. Like that's something I did not set up early on, but now moving forward with what I want, what I want to do for my business, I want this color associated with my branding. We have the real talk. I want to use some of those colors over, passing over to what I'm doing. So anytime anybody sees these colors and myself associated with these colors, uh, they can associate Chad Las Sencillas, Real Talk, and my real estate business with these colors. So just part of my branding out that I want to be consistent through. So I think it goes well.
I think so too. I really like those colors. I think they look really good, and they also complement the other colors too. So it's similar but not the same.
Yeah, I was talking with my daughter this morning on our way to school, and she was like, "Oh, we should put a Christmas lights." And she was going through the lights, and I'm like, it just made me realize that my colors are the Halloween colors. The orange and the purple edge black. I'm like, okay, I like it. Not gonna change.
I was trying to see if the CE shop right now offers brokerage license. Um, and let's see if you go to continuing education broker. Oh, they do. So with we didn't even plan this way, but I'm totally going to give us a little plug right here. If you scan the QR code at the top for the CE shop, right now you can get 40% off on your classes and courses. And if you go under select your state, Georgia, continuing education broker, there is a couple different packages that you can do. Oh, maybe this is, let's see, mandatory license law, broker, CE package. I wonder if this is the, actually, this just might be the continuing education for the broker.
Continuing education is 30%. Huh?
Oh, it's continuing education 30? Okay, continuing education is 30. Just kidding.
Hey, it's still a good discount, but if you're getting a new license, it's 40% off.
Yeah, so continuing education is for the brokerage. So if we want to get exam prep, I only see exam prep for the real estate license, but let me go in here. Okay, here we go. Okay, broker 60-hour broker real estate license packages. And yeah, and so the licensing, it says Autumn Advantage 40% off. So 40% off of the brokerage package to get your brokerage license. So actually it looks like right now they have the 60-hour course, and it normally is $259, and today you can get it for $155.
Nice.
Yep.
See?
So if you're thinking about getting your brokerage license exclusively with us, you can click our little QR code, or you can go to realtalkha.live, and you can also click the little banner there, and it'll take you to the CE shop. Make sure that you go on our banner and then enter the promo code Autumn, and you guys can get that 40% off on your broker license package.
Nice. Here in Alabama, for the same package is $201 with the 40% off, and that's a 60-hour real estate broker package. So pretty nice. 40% off. Definitely gonna look into that in the near future, because I might end up getting my license just to have my license, like I always thought I would. So, but as far as running and opening my own brokerage, on my end, I'm already doing that with the team that I'm with. So I'm excited to continue to work on that. So yeah, definitely for over the next week we can put a show together for the team benefits of joining a team and not joining a team. And I could certainly, I'm gonna see if I have one of a good friend of mine that's part of a team in the California Bay Area join us and give us a little bit more insight into that. So let's plan that out so we can have him here as a guest and go into the details into what the benefits are of being part of that team and that organization. So that would be great to have.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Because there's certainly, I definitely see the great points of being part of a team, right? I think it definitely helps, especially new agents coming in, looking for training and looking to close deals, right? But I would say you have to look at the big picture into what you want for your business, and do your due diligence before going in, because there's some people that love being part of it, and there's just not for some others. So
Yeah.
if you know what is for you, then do your due diligence beforehand.
And I was going to read you guys the so across the United States, this is going to kind of vary state for state, but the basic meet requirements in order to get your brokerage license is usually between 18 and 21, depending on the state. And then with experience, most states require at least 2 to 4 years of active sales experience as a licensed agent. And some states actually require you to have a certain number of closed deals or like total volume. Not every state. And again, these differ state to state. So you'll have to, depending on where you live, look up your exact rules and regulations on what you need as far as your requirements to become a broker. And then when you go into your licensing education, your pre-licensing, you typically need 60 to 150 classroom hours, depending on the state. In Georgia, it's 60. And then again, you would just have to see which state and what you need to do, and then make sure that the school you're going through is approved for your state, everything like that. Because the last thing you want to do is go online and do like the wrong state. So make sure you're doing it for the state that you're going to be licensed in.
Absolutely. That's pretty good. Yeah, meet those requirements. I think here in Alabama. I just have 24 months, 2 years, uh, with my license active. So I'm almost there. Another thing I'm looking to get my license in the Dominican Republic, right? I'm native of Dominican Republic, but I also need to have part of the requirements. I need to have 2 years with my current brokerage, uh, and then be able to get my license over there as well. So that's good. That's perfect. You know, the one thing with that is, in my case, I have a cap, right?
Mhm.
Then I will also have a separate cap in the Dominican Republic, but it doesn't translate just one cap. But here in the U.S., I'm also licensed in California, right? If I'm closing deals in California, then I only have a single cap for all 50 states. Only a separate cap because it's international, different country. So that's pretty good. I thought that was cool, and it's a lower cap than what it is here, so that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. That's awesome.
And one other thing in my case is, which I've been wanting to get my wife to get licenses. We have one cap for both of us as a household. So let's say you and Tony were to be part of the team. So one cap for both of you. I think makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's pretty cool. Little details that are important, as you continue to grow, um, that sometimes get overlooked. So yeah, I'm looking to get my license over there. I'm excited for that. Next year, I have to take a trip over there, because by next summer I should be able to get my license uh, in the R. And I like that. My wife, she likes the idea of being able to go over there for a couple of months and do some real estate over there. Trust me, she's down for a vacation, especially if she's not in Australia. You go work, I'll be here at the beach.
Right? Oh, yes. That's like all the memes and stuff where it's like a real estate agent on vacation and they're in the water with the laptop.
That would be me. Well, I would not be in the water, but she would. Like, you go work. But it's interesting because that's always what I envision. Now I have access to get all of that done.
Oh, that should be a topic too of like how to go on vacation as a real estate agent. Because do we ever really go on vacation? I mean, you're supposed to be able to have somebody there that can manage all your stuff for you and handle your deals for you while you're gone. But when you're running a business like this, it's hard to just completely 100% check out.
That is something I got from my previous broker. He mentioned, look, there's a year I was doing 30, 40, 50 deals. And and every time I went on vacation, my kids, my wife, they were mad at me. They were just mad because I was never on vacation. They were, but I wasn't. And that made me realize that I need to slow it down a little bit and go on actual vacation when we do, because they were just mad. They were coming back home mad at me because I was not participating in anything. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need that. So thank you very much.
But I mean, it's hard. It's about finding the balance because if you don't take that phone call or you don't sign that form or you don't get that form emailed to the right person, it can ruin the whole transaction. So it's definitely a balance of being able to manage the time with your family, but also manage what you're doing on the work front. And something that, Tony and I have always stressed to the kids, yes, we may not be 100% present 100% of the time, but you're pretty much able to do almost 100% of the stuff you want to do because, we're working, because we're always doing this. So it's like, do you want to be on vacation, or do you want to be home and I can, not be working? We can either go on vacation and we work a little bit, or we cannot go on vacation, because you got to do what you got to do. And there's just got to be that balance.
Yeah, you have to have a balance always, family time. And I think you need to have the systems in place and leverage to be able to really have that family time. Like I mentioned earlier, if you don't have an exit strategy and you don't have all the systems in place down the road, um, do you really own a system, or do you have a job? Um, do you have a business? Are you working in your business or on your business? And you need to have everything in place. You need to have the people around you that will allow you to go that vacation as well. So, it's little details that I've over the past 2 years I've dive in and learn and look at other people and how they operate their business. I look at all the systems that are in place in some other businesses to allow you to have the time, the flexibility, and the freedom that you need to get some family work done and continue to have your business operating in a successful way. Because uh, you need to have that mindset and you need to have that in place.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of little things that we'll get to cover some of that here and talk to people that have those areas, those systems in place. Because at the end of the day, you eventually you need to have it. Otherwise, you can easily fall. You know, if your business, if you're required to be involved every transaction, then I think at some point you need a break, right? And it's hard to be. It's not hard, but it's hard to sustain it for 5, 10, 15 years if you're continuously the one involved with everything that's happening.
Yeah. And then it's about leverage, right? So if you're
Yeah,
deciding you're going to open up a brokerage, you're going to have agents underneath you, and you start rapidly growing this brokerage. And you start with like a handful, and then you have 10, then you have 20, then you have 100, then you have a couple hundred agents underneath you. There's no way that one person, is going to be able to do all of the things that need to be done. You're going to have to leverage that work out by hiring um, your the person in charge of all of the agents, like your first, what do they call that, the agent relations manager for your agents. And then we're going to need your compliance manager, and that would be the person that would go through and audit all of the contracts, make sure everything in the system is correct. Whoever's handling the closing to get the DAs for the closing. So there's no way you can do it all by yourself and have any type of life if you don't have some systems in place.
I'm paying agent on times. Just imagine. Now you're messing with other people's money.
Yep.
That's always something that it's a very sensitive topic in some people's conversation. When you start messing with other people's money and not paying them on time because of a transaction or something, that's a headache in itself.
Right. And not to mention doing all of that while also getting phone calls and emails from agents saying, hey, what does this mean? Or, hey, how do I do that? Or, hey, this happened. What can we do about it? So you've got a lot of stuff you got to deal with as a broker. But again, if it's what is going to be the best thing for you, then it's definitely a positive. Just make sure you do it correctly and have all your systems set up.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And it's fun in the process. Just got to make sure it makes sense for you.
Just like everything else, just like everything in life, got to make sure that the shoe fits before you walk in it.
Hey, and we see it happen oftentimes. Um, sometimes you just have it that you want to do it, you want to try it, and that's how it goes. Um, I've done that many times, and like I said, eventually I'm going to get my broker license, um, because that's been one of my goals. I will get my broker license. But will I open my own office? Not with what I have now anymore. I think I leverage the team around me, the broker team around me, and I can continue to grow in other areas that I see fit, because of the opportunity in front of me. So, but yeah, this has been fun, and certainly we can put together another episode where we can go into the team perspective and the pros and cons in that area as well.
It looks like that is pretty much our time for today. I think this is a good topic to be covered. And definitely, if you guys have any questions on the CE shop or how to access that, just shoot us a text message, email, comment on social media. We'll be happy to get you over the link so that you can get your free licensing courses at that
Yeah,
discount.
take advantage of the discount that is available. All right. Again, twice a week, twice a month, we have a 40% discount, right? Um, and a 30% discount on continuing education. So take advantage of that. Check the website routinely and make it happen.
Yep, and I'm going to add it in to the description of the of this video. I'll have the link for that as well. If you guys are wanting that discount, go over there and make sure you snag that discount.
And I'm gonna look into getting providing you guys access to the home inspector and home appraiser school as well. So be on the lookout for it in the next month or so, uh, where you can use the discount for that for those courses as well. And you're in the inspection space, appraisal, you can definitely take advantage of that as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, I think that's it for us today, guys. Any last words or anything, Andres?
No, just follow us on Head in the Clouds and Charlas Sencillas. Stay tuned. Over the next month, we're putting a nice episode together. And then October as well, we have a special guest where we can dive into Bitcoin and blockchain for real estate purchase. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. So excited for that episode as well. And follow us again on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Head in the Clouds, Andres C. Realtor.
Yep. Don't forget, guys, if you want to be a guest on our show, scan the QR code right here that says be our guest and book a date that works good for you, and we will review your application and be in touch. That's it for us, guys. Thanks for this one, and we'll